is Valley News Live at 4.
Welcome to Valley News Live at 4. A Moorhead man is now charged in Clay County Court with second-degree murder after allegedly killing his mother. 25-year-old James Coley Jr. is expected in court this week after being arrested on Friday in Richland County. Now, he is being held in the Wahpeton jail and is awaiting extradition back to Minnesota. Family members discovered Coley's mother, a 56-year-old woman, in South Moorhead Thursday night. Now, after checking on the woman at her home in the 3800 block of 32nd Street South. Now, according to the Ramsey County Medical Examiner's Office, she died. Her cause of death was multiple sharp force injuries. Police say she also had a defensive wound on her hand. Police also say that there weren't any signs of forced entry into the home. The Moorhead Police Department is still asking for your assistance in looking for the victim's vehicle, a 2016 black Honda Pilot with MN plates HFE 185, again HFE 185. The Minnesota Board of Pharmacy has officially filed a civil lawsuit in Clay County against THC edible manufacturers and retailers. The Board of Pharmacy is alleging Northland Vapor of Moorhead and Bemidji and Waukee Confections have violated Minnesota cannabis laws. In July, Minnesota law changed to allow THC products to be sold, but with some specifications: no more than 5 milligrams of THC per serving and no more than 50 sold pre-packaged. It also restricts labeling and packaging. The lawsuit says that the defendants exceeded the THC limit in several products and in some cases going over the legal limit by 50 times. The lawsuit also says that the FDA altered the state of a healthy 23-year-old who consumed Northland Vapor edibles and later died unexpectedly.
It reflects that they see this as a public health issue. And, as the industry continues to flourish, the industry will continue to work with regulators in order to have a very safe industry.
The lawsuit also states that the defendant failed to provide the board with testing results, which is required under Minnesota law. We have reached out to Northland Vapor in Moorhead, but have not heard back at this time. Well, taking a look at our sky cam right now, things are looking a little bit clearer. A couple clouds in the skies, but to get our morning or Monday afternoon forecast, let's send things over to First Alert Storm Team forecaster Summer Schnellbach. Summer.
Thank you so much, Bobby. Yeah, nice to see a little bit of sunshine after a chilly weekend, and now our attention's turning to some more snow. We can expect some snowfall by the morning drive tomorrow. So I want to get a look at the very latest. So here is a snapshot of 7:30 in the morning. You can see the numbers in white here are your air temperatures. Going to wake up quite chilly with wind chills in the teens to 20 degrees below zero. That's the numbers in pink. And take a look at the blue shading. That is the snowfall expected on the ground by drive time tomorrow morning. So an area of light blue, that's a general trace to 2 inches of snow, but a little area of some darker blues. That's where we could see about 1 to 4 inches of snow already on the ground in time for that morning drive. There is a winter weather advisory in effect through the day tomorrow, primarily along and north of I-94 for those counties shaded in purple. Right now, temperatures are chilly, especially north in the single digits either side of zero. We're at 2 degrees below in Hallock, 2 above in Thief River Falls, 14 right now in Fergus Falls, but feels like 18 degrees below zero in Hallock, feels like 13 below in Thief River Falls. Bobby, coming up in just a couple minutes, I'll walk you through a closer look at the timing of that snow for tomorrow's drive.
All right, definitely gonna have a lot to go over to and a lot to pay attention to, I should say, as well. Summer, thank you so much. A confidential settlement has been reached from an incident back in 2019 when a then 5-year-old boy was thrown from a balcony at the Mall of America. Emmanuel Aranda threw the then 5-year-old from a 3rd-floor balcony back on April 12th of 2019. Aranda pleaded guilty to attempted first-degree murder and was sentenced to 19 years in prison for the attack. Now, according to the lawsuit that the family filed, the boy suffered extensive and in some cases permanent injuries to his brain, face, arms, legs, and internal organs when he hit the floor of the mall. Now, since 2019, the medical bills have exceeded $1.75 million. A North Dakota legislative panel is refusing to change a rule that creates a moratorium on electronic pull-tab machines at gas stations and liquor, grocery, and convenience stores. Now, the committee supported the North Dakota Gaming Commission vote back in May to alter the definition of a bar to clarify where the Las Vegas-style games that mimic slot machines will be allowed. Now, the new rule specifies that a bar does not include gas stations and liquor, grocery, and convenience store. A bar in a hotel, bowling alley, or a restaurant could still have the machines under this new definition. Now, the issue could also come up again in the next legislative session that begins on January 3rd. North Dakotans spent almost $1.75 billion into the machines in the fiscal year of 2022. There are about 4,400 machines operating in the state. A Valley City man is facing charges after a crash that left a vehicle hanging over a bridge deck. Valley City police were called just before 3 a.m. Saturday to the 800 block of 8th Avenue Southwest near the VCSU Bubble and Wellness Center. When police arrived, they found a vehicle resting on the sidewalk and hanging over the bridge to the Cheyenne River. 24-year-old Dempsey Williams was taken out of the vehicle and brought to Mercy Hospital before being arrested for DUI and care required. Former President Donald Trump has taken the false claims that the 2020 presidential election was stolen to a new level. This weekend, he suggested that parts of the Constitution should be terminated as a result. Nicole D'Antonio has more.
President Biden made sure to point out the theme of this year's holiday decorations at the White House during an event for the Kennedy Center honorees Sunday afternoon.
We the people, the first words of the Constitution, the beating heart of our democracy, the story of our nation that makes America, America.
The president's pointed remarks about the Constitution are in stark contrast to former President Trump's take on the founding document over the weekend, when he suggested on social media the possible termination of parts of the Constitution.
The Constitution is set for a reason, to protect the rights of every American. And so I certainly don't endorse that language or that sentiment.
The suggestion also included throwing out the results of the 2020 election or running the race again. But even his own vice president says claims of fraud are completely false.
Ultimately, there was no evidence of enough fraud to change the outcome in any of those states. But I think it set the table and set into motion what ultimately led to a tragic day on January 6th.
The former president's actions leading up to January 6th will be front and center when the congressional committee investigating that day issues its final report this month.
Donald Trump was a guy who just would not take no for an answer from the American people and set about to overthrow an election.
Trump's suggestion to overturn the 2020 results comes even as he's already declared his candidacy for the 2024 election.
I will support whoever the Republican nominee is.
Trump is also facing potential legal actions over January 6th and his possession of classified federal documents at his Florida home. Nicole D'Antonio, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Trump is the only declared candidate for the GOP presidential nomination so far, but others are expected to run against him, including former Vice President Pence and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Coming up on Valley News Live at 6 o'clock, it's the first part of a three-part series by reporter Erica Craven. When law enforcement uses lethal force, public scrutiny can follow, and an internal investigation is carried out to determine whether the force was justified. Erica took the same tactical training as officers in order to get the police perspective on lethal encounters. Again, that story coming up at 6 o'clock. Air travelers will now have more time to make sure their driver's license or ID is a real ID compliant card. The Department of Homeland Security announced today the new date has been set for May 7th, 2025. This extended period will give travelers more time to get the proper identification. Beginning on May 7th, federal agencies and TSA will not accept any driver's licenses and identification cards that do not meet federal standards. Congress passed the Real ID Act in an attempt to crack down on fake or counterfeit IDs. There have been several delays to the original deadline set in 2008, including the pandemic. Well, there was Plowy McPlowface, no more Mr. Ice Guy, and the time again to submit names for the Minnesota Department of Transportation's Name a Snow Plow Contest is back. You can now submit names until midnight on Friday, December 16th, and you may only submit one name. Now, names are also limited to no more than 30 characters, and no profanity is allowed. The rules also state that no political names are allowed, and past winners will not be considered.